The storm clawed at the city, each thunderclap a brutal fist hammering against the fragile shell of reality. Rain lashed down like a vengeful spirit, blurring the already dismal world into a canvas of grays and blacks. I hurried down the steps, seeking the dubious shelter of the subway. Little did I know, I was descending into a nightmare. The local stories, dismissed as folklore, echoed in my mind. Tales of a cursed platform, swallowed by darkness and despair. I remembered the hushed warnings, the fearful glances exchanged when its name was mentioned. Foolishly, I had thought myself immune to such childish fears. Then I saw him, an old man, wreathed in shadow, standing motionless at the far end of the platform. He hadn't been there a moment before. He seemed to materialize out of the very gloom. A primal dread coiled in my stomach, a cold serpent squeezing the breath from my lungs. The air thickened, heavy and stagnant, smelling of damp earth and something else. Something ancient and indescribably wrong. My logical mind screamed for me to flee, but my legs were leaden, rooted to the spot by an invisible force. Curiosity, or perhaps a morbid fascination, held me captive. Act 1, Introduction Setup. The platform stretched before me, an abyss punctuated by flickering fluorescent lights that cast long, distorted shadows. The only sound was the relentless drumming of the rain and the distant rumble of a train, a sound that seemed to amplify the unsettling silence around the old man. He remained utterly still, his face hidden in the gloom, yet I felt his gaze upon me, piercing and intense. I tried to rationalize the situation. Perhaps he was simply a homeless man seeking shelter. But the coldness that emanated from him, the oppressive weight of the atmosphere, defied any logical explanation. I glanced around, desperately searching for another soul, any sign of normalcy. But the platform was deserted, swallowed by the storm and the palpable sense of dread. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the encroaching darkness. I knew with chilling certainty that I was not alone, not truly. Act 2, Investigation Escalation. The first incident happened a few days later. I was home, trying to shake off the unsettling encounter, when I heard it. A whisper, just on the edge of hearing, seemingly emanating from an empty room. At first, I dismissed it as the house settling, the wind playing tricks. But then it came again, clearer this time, a voice murmuring unintelligible words, laced with sorrow and despair. The sound sent shivers down my spine, raising goosebumps on my arms. Days turned into weeks, and the whispers intensified, growing into full-blown conversations, echoing from unseen corners of the house. I tried everything to explain them away. Faulty wiring, hallucinations, even gas leaks. But deep down, I knew the truth. Something had followed me from that platform. Driven by a desperate need to understand, I began researching the history of the subway station. I scoured old newspaper articles, city records, anything that might shed light on the strange events. What I uncovered was chilling. The station had a dark past, marred by tragedy and unexplained disappearances. Over a century, people had vanished within its depths, leaving behind only whispers and unanswered questions. Each case shared a disturbing similarity. The victims were last seen near the platform, often during or after a storm. And in several accounts, witnesses mentioned a strange old man lurking in the shadows. My blood ran cold as I realized the horrifying truth. I was caught in a web of paranormal activity, a recurring nightmare woven into the very fabric of the station. Then I found the map. It was lying on the floor of my study, seemingly out of nowhere, a crudely drawn diagram of the subway tunnels, marked with strange symbols and cryptic annotations. As I picked it up, a wave of nausea washed over me, followed by an intense feeling of dread. The map pulsed with a palpable energy, a malevolent presence that seemed to seep into my very bones. It felt ancient, tainted, as if it had witnessed horrors beyond human comprehension. The following night, I returned to the platform. The air was thick with anticipation, charged with an unseen energy. As I stood there, clutching the map, I saw it. A flicker of movement at the edge of my vision, a shimmering distortion in the air. Then, another figure materialized beside the old man, a spectral form, translucent and vibrant, radiating an aura of immense sorrow. It was a woman, her face contorted in a silent scream, her eyes wide with unimaginable terror. Act 3. Revelation. Climax. The two entities began to interact, their movements synchronized, their gestures deliberate. They weren't speaking in any language I understood, but their intentions were clear. They were trying to communicate, to show me something. The spectral woman pointed to a specific location on the platform, her translucent finger trembling with emotion. The old man, his face still obscured, nodded in agreement. As I followed their gaze, I saw it. A faint outline on the wall, barely visible in the dim light. It was a door, hidden behind a layer of grime and decay, a portal to some unseen realm. The entities seemed to be urging me to open it, to step beyond the veil. Suddenly, a wave of understanding washed over me. Decades ago, a terrible event had occurred at this very spot, a horrific crime that had ripped a hole in the fabric of reality. The entities were trapped here, bound to the platform, reliving their torment for eternity. They weren't trying to harm me. They were trying to warn me, to show me the consequences of crossing the boundary between worlds. But the map? The map was a key to unlocking something even darker, something that lay dormant beyond that hidden door. The weight of that knowledge crashed over me, threatening to drown me in despair. I knew I had to leave, to sever my connection to this cursed place before it consumed me entirely. Act 4. Aftermath. Reflection. I fled the platform. The image of the spectral woman's terrified face burned into my mind. I destroyed the map, scattering its fragments to the wind, hoping to erase its influence from my life. But some things, once seen, can never be unseen. I stopped my research, abandoning my quest for answers. Some doors are best left unopened, some mysteries best left unsolved. The experience left me changed, haunted by the knowledge of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface of reality. Sometimes, late at night, I still feel the presence of the old man, a cold whisper at the edge of my awareness. He is a constant reminder that our world is not as safe or predictable as we believe, that some places are tainted by tragedy, marked by a darkness that can never be fully eradicated. And so, I offer this warning to anyone who might be tempted to delve into the mysteries of the dark subway platform. Turn back, walk away, don't make the same mistake I did. Because once you cross that threshold, once you glimpse what lies beyond the veil, you will never be the same, and the entities that dwell there will never let you go.